I'm going to take you on a journey of not one, not two, not three, five cities, and five of the biggest cities in the whole of the world. The journey that is going to be taken here will be through the railway line, and you can go to wade through it. You see this entire picture of it, from where to where we are going to be beginning this journey from. We are going to be beginning this journey from Maryland to all the way to Boston, and just take a look at it. How does it going to look like? Once you imagine that you are going to be here, that's the place. That is in Washington, D.C. That's the place where you are. That's the place you start your journey from. And it is going to be a three-dimensional image of all of these cities that you are going to be observing in this case. And that's the way that we have started moving from here onwards. The way that we have started moving, just go on to take a look. Moving through Washington, D.C., moving from one city to another city and to another city, and enjoy this journey that is going to be taking place towards Baltimore. And then thereafter, you can go to take a look at the landscape. Then too will be coming on to Baltimore, that is going to be here. And from here onwards, we are again going to be moving towards the northern portion, northeastern portion. All in all, you're going to take a look at the changing landscape of this region. How is it that is going to be changing, and in which way exactly it goes on to show certain type of change. Of course, in North America, not too many changes are going to be visible, but this is still going to be pretty clear. Before coming to Philadelphia, you have come to Philadelphia right now, and from Philadelphia onwards, the journey still keeps on continuing towards the northeast. And take a look at the landscape and the type of construction and the amount of construction that has taken place. The way the train routes go on to be winding from one region to another region, beginning in North Philadelphia, then Newark. Of course, that means we are coming onto which region? When it is going to be about Newark, it is New York. That is going to be one of those airports. And that is one of the most important bridges that we happen to pass to come to New York. That is the skyline of New York. Having taken a look at the skyline of New York, you imagine how different it is going to be from the skyline of different cities. And then the now northward journey keeps on continuing. Now, when this northward journey keeps on continuing, you find that there is no transition. It's not going to be completely agricultural area in this case at all. And when we say that there is no agriculture area, no intervening agriculture area, nothing of an area that is going to be called as completely environmental, that is the difference. It is joining five cities, five of the world's largest cities, and coming to Stamford, and then you will be coming on to New Haven Street, all of them keep on moving. You will come to realize that there is a continuous built-up area, one area leading to another area, and for 500 kilometers, you are not going to be finding anything that is going to be intervening forest area, then wilderness areas, except for small patches here and there of sorts. Now you have come to Providence, and from this place onwards, again you have traveled. And you take a look at the miles traveled in this case. That is almost 500 kilometers travel, and how much amount of time? It has taken more than 6 hours of time. Now, as an exception, there is some amount of a wilderness area, forested area that is going to be found in this place as an exception to it. But again, a built-up area that has come to here. And this is what we're going to be calling it as a conurbation or a megalopolis. And you have come to Boston, and you are again going to find big buildings evolving in this region and showing to it yourself. So one city after another, one city after another, even if you're going to take a journey through roadways, that's what exactly that you're going to find in this region, ending up till Boston. That is, the journey goes on to move all the way from where? It goes on to move from all the way from Washington, D.C. to Boston, and from Boston to Washington, D.C., that continuous urban built-up area has been given the name BO-WASH, BO for Boston and WSH for Washington, D.C. This is called as a megalopolis. Mega that is so large. Of course, polis, that is going to be referring to the city in this case. So it is going to be megalopolis. And there's another word as well that is going to be called by the name of conurbation. That is another word. And why we going to be using this word? We're going to be using this word depending on whether we are going to be, in Britain or we are going to be in North America. In North America, it is going to be conurbation. In Britain, it is going to be megalopolis. These are the people who coined these words. Of course, this was a word that was coined in the aftermath of building construction without any consideration given to environment at all. So the word conurbation originated from two words. One of them is continuous, that is and then the other word is urban area. Joining these two words together is going to be conurbation. For the first time, it was talked about by Patrick Geeds, and he explained the continuous urban area of more than two urban centers, maybe three urban centers. And what you saw right now was not one, not two, not three, more than five urban centers, and which have a separate territorial limits and units, but still they are linked to each other in a continuous belt. This is the world where we are looking at the evolution of such type of conurbations. Now, this conurbation highlights the characteristics of a city region. As we said, that is, it is a characteristic of a city region. City region, that means a city and its neighborhood, a city and its environs. Agglomerated town, that means how many urban centers have joined together, that is going to be agglomerated town. The constellation of towns, in this case, not one, not two, many of them have co-joined together in this case. So many of these million cities, and of course it is going to be urban agglomeration. It is highlighting all of these aspects. So it is also going to be highlighting an urban aggregate or urban complex of one region or two regions, many of these regions. It is highlighting also the extent of urbanized areas, whether it is going to be 40%, 50%, 80% or 100% as well, extent of urbanized area, and the metropolitan area and the aggregates of local authority areas, because it's a characteristic of what type of a metropolitan area it is. How many local authorities areas have got themselves aggregated? Now, all in all, greater the number of metropolitan areas, greater is the aggregation of the local authorities, greater will be the megalopolis. Larger will be the megalopolis. So, megalopolis or conurbation highlights the characteristic of all of these segments or centers. Now, having understood that, you must come to what exactly is the process of the development of conurbation. That means, how is it that a conurbation develops? Now, the rise of conurbation is a sign of an advanced stage of urban growth. That means when urban growth is taking place, of course, in the Western terminology, because this is a complete Western concept, it's not exactly Indian context, and it's not Sanatani concept also. And I keep on talking about Sanatan because most of these things, most of this type of urban growth has been experienced in India as well, has been experienced in Sanatan Dharma as well. But then that has not caused so much amount of a destruction as the present linear thinking of the Western countries have done. And that is with complete disregard to the human psyche, human sentiments, human emotions, environment, the people, the ability of the people, and any of these things that you can think of. Because it is completely based on what we're going to be calling as a linear thinking. A non-linear thinking and a lateral thinking is taking this into account, taking that into account, taking that part into account, taking another part into account. So taking multiple facets of it into account. And this is something that has not been taken into account while, of course, discussing about it. So the basic reasons behind the evolution of such type of a conurbation is, one of them is one of the process is going to be expansion of one city, one metropolitan city. That means when one city goes on to become larger, it goes on to become very, very big, and that is a conurbation. That is a megalopolis. Alternatively, it can be even two cities can go to coalesce and they can go to join together. Two cities coalescing and two cities joining together. So two expanded cities may coalesce. That will also going to lead to emergence of a megalopolis or conurbation. And due to the coalescence of more than two cities and many centers. So, and the third process is that one center, another center, many of these centers combine. Now take a look at it here. That is, this is one of these diagrams that goes on to explain that part. That is the first expansion. This is the first expansion, followed by the second expansion. See the layering that has been developing. See this layering that has been developing. It's a metropolitan area built. The third expansion is many large metropolitan areas have come and joined together in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take the case of Delhi in this case. That is, you're going to find that Delhi happens to be one of these centers, and the other centers in this case, are going to be comprising of many of them. For example, what they are going to be comprising of, one of them Faridabad, another Ghaziabad, another Noida, another Gurgaon, and so on and so forth. So that has been the case all in all in this case. Now, the fourth expansion in this case has been that is taking a look at it, all of them start joining together, all of them. That is, this is a megalopolis, this is a megalopolis, and just going to take a look at it, all of them have joined together in more than one way. And that means that they are functionally interdependent on each other. And that's what goes on to prepare the base for the emergence of such type of a continuous urban built-up area. So, having known the processes, conurbation is having all of these conurbations have some characteristics. The process is that is one step after another, after another, after another, after another. Characteristics, that means all of these conurbations are going to be characterized by. And what exactly is that? One is that all of them will going to have a continuous built-up area. Continuous built-up area. As you saw in the introduction part of it, that is, as we're moving all the way through the Bosch megalopolis, there was one area, another, after another area, after another area, after another area. So it was a continuous built-up area after one, and so on and so forth. That is one. Of course, all of these areas are going to be known for their high population density. The population density is going to be high, largely because it is a vertical growth. That means in one small center, many things or many people happen to live in that place. Also, it has a segregated residential zone. So, residential zones for them are different. Commercial zones are different. Transportation corridors are different. We went through the transportation corridor. We saw the commercial zones, that is high-rise buildings in this case. Industrial zones are going to be different. We also saw those as well. So they are going to be residential, segregated residential zones in this case. Also, that is, conurbation affects the distribution of goods and collection of distribution of vital supplies. We talk about conurbation affects the distribution of goods. That is, and how it is going to be? Imagine 5 large cities coalescing with each other. So only one of them goes on to form such a big market. So conurbation affects the distribution of goods, the collection and distribution of vital supplies. And when we're going to be talking about vital supplies, from where exactly is it that they are going to be collected? How is it that they are going to be collected? That becomes significant in this case. That is, a logistics part of it is going to be important all in all. Now, this is how a conurbation will go to be looking like. You're going to find urban corridors, in this case, megalopolitan development, conurbation, ribbon development. As you can go to find it, ribbon development, that is going to be, it's going to be in this form of a line. This is going to be in such a form. So there are going to be only few of these ribbon developments in this area that is going to be here. That's the place that is going to be ribbon development. And all in all, when it has gone to become very large, of course, all of them coalesce. All of these characteristics going to coalesce to give rise to such type of an urban agglomeration. Fifth is, that is, conurbation possesses a variety of miscellaneous industry, largely because of course, it has to have some diversity. Different type of industries goes on to give it a different type of an identity. So it is going to be all about a variety of types of industry that are going to be found in that place, and this originates because of the demands of the regional market. Different regions. Let's say take the example of the emerging megalopolis from all the way from Delhi, that is going to be up till Mumbai. Once this road is going to be constructed between Delhi and Mumbai, you will yourself going to see that that leads to emergence of one of the largest megalopolises in the whole of the world. Now, the demands of Delhi will be different, Jaipur will be different, any intervening city, Devas will be different, maybe Bhopal is going to be lying in the way, Tarsila is going to be lying in this way, that will be different. So, all of these cities will be different, and they all will be different from each other of sorts. So, demands of Maharashtra will be different, Madhya Pradesh will be different, Rajasthan will be different, Delhi itself will be different, and Delhi itself is going to be having a variety of type of regional markets to serve. It also because of the availability of labor. Why is it that different type of industries emerge? Is because of some people who are accomplished to do some type of work. That is one type of a labor. There are some people who are going to be accomplished to do another type of work. That is going to be another type of a labor. And labor availability will go to mean that you can go to open up such type of industries as well. That is availability of labor. And then transportation facilities associated with it. You have to have this logistics supply in place and completely in place so that you are able to avail of these type of transportation facilities. And these transportation facilities mean that the Conurbation will go to expand, it will go to become bigger, it will go to become larger, and so on. So it possesses a variety of miscellaneous industry, and this happens because of regional markets, availability of labor, and of course transport facility, because that is responsible for logistics supply, that is also responsible for a variety of forward and backward linkages as well. Then you have financial individuality. And when we are going to be talking about financial individuality, we are essentially talking about many aspects. For example, one of them is going to be that is every city, every center in this case will be financially different from the other one, and that is individuality of the center. Every center will be different financially from the other one, and that is all about financial individuality of the center. And why exactly it is so? One of them may be based on maybe banking, another will be on investment, another will be on the disbursement of the financial services, and so on. Besides, it provides a venue for development. That means a conurbation is likely to encompass various forms of in which direction the so-called development can go to take place. The word should be growth rather than development in this case. That means how many different types of growth and in what direction the different type of growths can go on to take place. That is going to be its characteristic. Now, these conurbations, we have given indication of this fact, that is, having known about it, these conurbations are going to be of two types. One of them is going to be polycentric, which is also going to be called by the name of polynuclear, polycentric or polynuclear. That means many nuclei have gone on to merge into each. They have merged to form a large urban agglomeration. It is formed because of the fusion of a number of distinct towns and cities in this place. Fusion of a number of distinct towns. Like you can go to take an example of Delhi. So Delhi urban agglomeration has been formed because of the fusion of Delhi with Ghaziabad, with Faridabad, with Gurgaon, with Noida, with Narela, with a variety of them which happens to form a part of it. That is going to be one of them, one of these forms. You can go to take a look at this diagram itself. In this case, there is a polycentric metro area, and you're going to find that Delhi is indeed polycentric itself. Why it is polycentric? Yeah? Delhi is polycentric because you have many centers in Delhi. Connaught Place is going to be one of them. Karol Bagh is going to be another of them. Then you have South Extension, that is another of them. Then, of course, you have Rajouri Garden, you have a Western Delhi, you have Eastern Delhi, Preet Vihar, you have a Shahadra, you have Anand Vihar. All of these are going to be different centers. So there is going to be a monocentric metro area, polycentric metro area, and a variety of these type of centers have merged to lead to the character of Delhi that it goes on to show. Now, there are many examples of polycentric conurbations in the whole of the world. One of them is going to be Pittsburgh district. When you are going to be talking about Pittsburgh district, taking a look at it, you're going to imagine that it's going to be Pittsburgh, which is going to be, Pittsburgh is going to be around Lake Erie region. That is going to be one of them. And many small steel centers have come to coalesce to lead to emergence of a Pittsburgh center. That is going to be one. And of course, in this region, you're going to find many other centers as well. For example, you're going to find Chicago, which is going to be an example essentially of a monocentric conurbation, not polycentric of them. Other is going to be, the best example in this case will be of a Ruhr coalfields, that is Upper Silesia and Poland. That is comprising of, in this case, it will going to comprise of a Ruhr region, it will going to comprise of Essen, Bochum, Düsseldorf, Gelsenkirchen. All of these centers will go on to be a part of it. That is one component. Then other is going to be Lille, Roubaix, Tourcoing triangle in northeast France. Now, Lille comprising of three centers, all in this case. That is going to be in the northern portion of Lille, Roubaix, and Tourcoing. If you can go on to just take a look at it, this is what we are going to be talking about. Lille, Roubaix, and Tourcoing, all of them having joined together in this case to lead to formation of such type of a megalopolis. So, polycentric is going to be one of them. The second is, of course, is going to be monocentric. Monocentric is also called as uninuclear. Now, this evolves out of expansion of a single large city. That means one city will go on to expand, and expand. It will go on to expand so much that it will go on to become very, very large. And of course, the best examples are London is there, Paris is there, Buenos Aires. Can you imagine? Buenos Aires is at least 10 or 15, 12 to 13 times bigger than that of a Rosario. That is the second largest city in this place. And near to Sydney, there's almost nothing near to Sydney. Chicago, we have talked about, that was a monocentric conurbation. So that is going to be one of them. Delhi is an example, but Delhi can go on to be debatable as well in this case. You take a look at it. That is, these are going to be the two of them. That is, it's going to be monocentric. It's going to be a fusion mode. That's going to be phase one. So taking a look at it, monocentric, what will going to happen is all these centers will go on to merge together. Then as they go on to merge together, ultimately in phase three, all of them have actually gone on to merge together. In polycentric, there is one center that will go on to become larger with all of these intervening centers being collected together. In the last phase, of course, there is not going to be too much amount of a difference in the way they go on to look like. But then that's the way. So monocentric and polycentric, in very short, is going to be, monocentric is one large urban center that has expanded. Polycentric is many centers that have co-joined together to lead to its evolution. Then you have the third one, that is going to be polycentric metropolitan conurbations. When we are going to be talking about the polycentric metropolitan conurbations, it has a different meaning altogether. Polycentric metropolitan conurbations. That means many metropolises joining together, not centers, many metropolises. Bowash is going to be one of them. Huge centers, Boston, Philadelphia, Washington D.C, Baltimore, all of them joining together in such a form. That is going to be the best example of it. Polycentric conurbations in general, they are going to be said to be characteristic of what we call as older countries. Older countries, that means Europe is older, largely because the United States have developed recently, very, very recently. Of course, US has a history of 200 years. Europe has a slightly longer history of sorts. So polycentric conurbations are characteristic of old countries, while monocentric is a characteristic of new countries, many new countries. United States is one, Africa, Australia. Australia, you can go take example of it, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, all of these are examples of monocentric one. Americas and all of them have been a part of it. You can have a look at this distribution of the megalopolis in the whole of the world. Of course, you're going to find that in the future, the biggest megalopolises are going to be found in India. This is going to be one of these places. You're going to find in Australia, all of them are confined only to a smaller portion. In many places like here, what you're going to find is in these places, that is going to be in France, in Germany, in Britain, and United States. The biggest confinement is going to be all in all towards the northeastern seaboard, while in Brazil, in North America, in South America, it is going to be again towards the northeastern sea region of Brazil is going to be one of them. That is Sao Paulo is going to be one part of it. Brasilia is not exactly part of it. Rio de Janeiro is going to be a part of it in this case. In Africa, it is going to be more or less fragmented, while in China has led to the emergence of the new forms of megalopolis. And see this amount of clustering that shows that the amount of urban centers that have evolved of late in these regions. Taking a cue from almost all of these continents, you will observe that in North America, I mean, they are distributed widely in the whole of the world. In North America, the most important zone is going to be Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. That's what we're going to be calling it by the name of BOWASH. That is the name that is going to be given to it. Then, Great Lakes area is extending from Chicago east to Detroit and the southern states of Lake Erie. That is Chicago region is going to be one center in this case. Elsewhere, it is going to be San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. That is going to be towards the western zone. This is going to be towards the western zone. Montreal, Toronto, and Windsor and Minneapolis is going to be towards the Canadian region. That is where it is going to be. And Miami to Houston in the south. That is going to be Gulf state. This is going to be another region where such type of conurbations are going to be developed and that are going to be found as well. In North America, picking up an example, that is what we are going to be talking about by the end of the decade. Projections indicate that United States will consist of 4 super urban areas. We are going to be talking about not 1 or 2, 4 super urban areas. BOWASH is going to be one of them. Chippewa, Chicago, Pittsburgh. Chippewa refers to Chicago and Pittsburgh. That is going to be another one of them. San is refers to San Francisco, Los Angeles to San Diego. That is San, taking 2 words from it. And Jami, that is Jacksonville, Miami. That is going to be Jacksonville to Miami. All of these Americans have a queer tendency of using names and a variety of type of names, which even we can't go to understand it. But then this is what is going to be the evolution of the future megalopolis in North America. In Japan, it is going to be very different. The most important of it, Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto, it has been existing almost in the same manner as that of North America. Evolution has coincided almost with it has coincided with the industrial growth and development of Japan. Tokyo, Yokohama is going to be another of them. In this case, as you can go to find it, this is what is Osaka, Kobe is going to be one of them, and Kyoto. 3 of them combined here in this case. They're going to be part of it. And then Tokyo and Yokohama. Again, you are picking up this place. There is Tokyo and Yokohama. Both of them have co-joined together to lead to evolution of such type of a megalopolis in this region. China has there are going to be 2 cities, twin cities of Cholon, that is Wuhan and Yangtze River is formed, merging all of them. Of course, in Australia, it is going to be Sydney. In India, it is going to be Mumbai, Delhi, and Kolkata region, all in all, in this case. Elsewhere, of course, in Africa, it is going to be Witwatersrand region in South Africa. And not only that, we do going to be having Accra, Kumasi, and Chakuradi. That is going to be in Africa. Alexandria and Cairo is going to be in Egypt. Lagos and Ibadan in Nigeria, there's going to be one of them, only one of them. Rio de Janeiro and Belo Horizonte is going to be in Brazil. Sao Paulo is going to be another one of them. While in Mexico, it is going to be Mexico City. Mexico City is an example of a monocentric conurbation. And of course, Mexico City, Puebla, and Veracruz. There is another one of them that is in Argentina. There is Buenos Aires and Rosario. In Europe, we have talked about that. Germany, it is Rhine-Ruhr region. Then Dusseldorf, Essen, and Cologne. The second complex is going to be Milan, Turin, and Geneva. That is extending southward to Pisa. That's in Italy. The third is going to be what we're going to be calling it as Randstad megalopolis, which will go to emerge as the largest megalopolis anywhere. Randstad megalopolis, comprising of Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague. These are the three areas. These are the three regions, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and Hague. And smaller ones are emerging in Antwerp, that is going to be Paris region. It also goes on to be comprising of a Saxony region. So there are going to be all in all fragmented forms of a megalopolitan development taking place throughout. So what we have known about a conurbation and megalopolises, what are conurbations, what is the megalopolis, what exactly is the process of its development, what are its characteristics, what are the causes behind the development of the megalopolis, how is it distributed. You can imagine that. The first has been about the nature of the megalopolis, that is what it is. The second has been the process of its development. The third has been a characteristic. The fourth has been the causes for the development of the megalopolis or megalopolitan development. Fifth has been its distribution. And sixth is going to be problems associated with the megalopolis. Of course, megalopolis does going to lead to evolution of many problems. So one of them is growing at an alarming pace. There is always going to be an inadequacy of the civic amenities and infrastructure facilities. Therefore, now, when some of these things grow at such a fast pace, at such a breakneck pace, then these are always going to be some components. Now, consequently, life in conurbations are very, very stressful. It's very, very stressful. And with loss of human values, cutthroat competition, almost all the human beings, if they are like robots in this place. That's one. And not only that, not only that, there are a lot of environmental problems also that are going to be faced in this region. And when we say that there are going to be a lot of environmental problems being faced in this case, then of course, it's going to be a complete concrete jungle. It will going to have a completely separate type of its climate, which is going to be called by the name of urban climate, and whatnot. That is all going to be a component of it. So that is going to be one component. Second is the unplanned growth of population in conurbation areas can result in more than one slum. That is, the evolution of slum and squatter settlements may go on to go side by side with the evolution of the megalopolis. And of course, that is also not going to be humane. That means the living conditions in the slums leaves a lot to be desired. Lot to be desired in this case. Then there is a decay in the quality of the urban environment. And when we are going to be talking about a decay in the quality of urban environment, we are basically talking about that the urban areas are not going to be such type of areas which to be aesthetically pleasing. Like some of you people who may have lived in some places of Delhi, like in Rajendra Nagar or in Mukherjee Nagar, you must have encountered this concrete jungle, what we're going to be calling it. It's concrete, concrete, and concrete. From your windows, you take a look, that is going to be concrete. And of course, it doesn't going to give a pleasant feeling as at all in this case. It's also going to be characterized by poverty, unemployment, insecurity, and the high rate of a crime. Why? Poverty, because of course it's a cutthroat competition. Not everyone is able to get an opportunity. Unemployment, largely because not too many people are able to get an employment of their choice. And maybe even if they're employed, that is hardly going to be called as an employment in this case. Most of these people going to come to these areas in the search of making a living, but not everyone is able to do it so. Insecurity, there are no human relationships. There is nothing called as a social capital that is existing in this space. And humans are complete robots. You can go to find a variety of types of crimes emerging and coming into these areas. Then there is a problem of administration owing to overlapping of urban influence. That is where one center ends, another center emerges. How is it that is going to be defined? India, it will going to present even a bigger problem, largely because in India, there are a variety of type of colonial concepts that have merged with it. I repeat, variety of type of colonial concepts that have merged with it, and they are going to be overlapping with it. So this leads to grave issues of urban governance all in all. And urban governance is a different ballgame together. Lastly, the enormous size of the conurbation leads to traffic congestion, a scarcity of water, electricity. Everything is scarce in this place. Everything. You consider anything that you can go to know that is going to be scarce in this place. Why? Because everyone is looking for it. Everyone is going to be making money. And all of this money, they are using it for this purpose only. They are using it only for this reason. So it's not going to be a very pleasant feeling living in a conurbations. And when we say it's not going to be a pleasant feeling, it is actually so. And when we say it, it's not a pleasant feeling because of the aesthetics, because of the social relations, because of the psychological impact, because of the economic drain, all in all. But then Megalopolis is a evil necessity. When we say it's an evil necessity, it is indeed an evil necessity because there is no way that you can go to live without Megalopolis, and there is no way you can go to live happily also in Megalopolis.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.